Hello everyone. In this tutorial we're going to go over the interface of Illustrator, setting up new files with artboards or singular boards, layers and opacities, and just some basic line tools that we will be using in assignment 4. So first, let's set up a new file. The same as Photoshop, just go up to Control or File, New, and now bring up this new dialog box. So basically, Illustrator, you can set up multiple pages at once. This can be useful for printing multiple pages and having them pushed together in a singular PDF or exporting multiple pages at one time. So this first exercise, let's just set up 4 artboards, and we'll leave the size at 32 inches, 20 inches, and it's at a landscape orientation. Hit OK. And now we're set up with 4 boards. Now again, we can work individually on each one of these boards. We can also copy and paste on each one of these and also print or export out JPEGs, PDFs from one singular file. For today's exercise, let's just make one singular board. So again, let's just click out of here. Hit Control-N as a hotkey if you want to set up a new page quicker. Number of artboards, just do 1. Hit OK. Now we're just set up with one singular file. So if we go to our left side here, this panel sets up your layers, your opacities, your line weights, colors, swatches, etc. So let's bring up our layers. So in Illustrator, we already have one layer already set up. So let's go to the internet real quick and grab an image. We'll also discuss the difference between raster and vector. We'll get a smaller image, let's just say the Seattle Library for now. Just copy it. We'll paste it onto our canvas here. So now in Photoshop what we can do is, it already pasted into our main first layer. Let's say we set up another layer. That's 2. We can lock the first layer, and so now we can't select it. Now let's zoom in on this. Now we can see the pixels really sticking out of this. So this is a rastered format. Now what we're going to do is work with vectors. So in this exercise we're just going to trace around the Seattle Library here using vectors. So let's unlock this layer for a second, and now if we go to the right here and press this circle, it'll select everything on that layer. See how this is all selected? Now let's change the opacity, going over to these 2 circles. If we hit opacity here and drag this down so we can just barely see it, we're going to trace out some lines over this. Let's go back to our layers, lock it up, and now let's go over to our pen tool here. You can also hit P as a hotkey. And remember, you have to be on the layer that's not locked to actually operate this. Now here, this is the difference between a fill and a stroke. This would be a fill if you're making a circular shape and fill it in with white. This would be a stroke if you're making a singular line. Currently it's not turned on, so if we click on here and hit our color, it'll turn it automatically black, and it'll bring up this box where we can change the color and spectrum of this stroke color. For now, let's just do black. Now let's go through and just trace out the outline of the Seattle Library. Holding spacebar will allow you to pan. Now see how we're getting a fill in there? Oops, missed that. Okay. Now if we hit the end of it, it'll deselect it and create a shape. Or if you simply hit V or escape, you'll get out of the pen tool. So let's take the stroke out. You can do this by simply just clicking the fill, and hitting this cross out symbol here. So now we're stuck with this outline of the building. So now let's take this line and going back to our layers, let's lock it. Now let's go to the next set of lines, and we're going to create a new layer for this. Now let's try to get all these different little facets in there. So again, let's go to our pen tool, select here, I'm kind of guessing, so you guys will do a lot better on your assignment, I'm sure. Now again, if you hit V, it'll deselect, and then hit P again, you'll have a new pen. We'll start connecting some lines here. V, P. VP again. Try to fill it in. This will take some time. Okay, we'll finish up here just on the corner. Okay, so now we have a bunch of little different lines that kind of created the image. And again, if you select this circle over here, you're able to just select everything on that layer and drag wherever you need to off the image. So for now, let's undo our image layer. So unlock it. Let's move it over. And now let's show the difference between a vector drawing and a raster, or a vector drawing and a raster drawing. So let's bring up the opacity again on this so we can see it in full depth. I might have selected on layer. So we can see how this gets rasterized when we get pretty up close, and this stays very, very consistent and very sharp. Looks like I have a layer locked. Unlock that really quickly. And again, same as Photoshop, if you select everything, it'll come up with a free transform automatically. If you hold Shift, it'll scale uniformly. Let's get them centered. Now if you look here, see how much more kind of pixelated and kind of unclear when you get in. The sharpness really loses. But when you go to the vector, everything is super clear, no matter how far you get in there. Where you end up with really sharp and beautiful lines. So let's try something with line weights, just to outline the Seattle library. So if we select our outside outline here, we can come over to stroke. I'll pop up a box here. And we're left here with a weight. What we can do with weight is we can bump up our line weights throughout here, make it really thick, and then we can try to make these inside lines a little teeny bit thinner, try to emphasize the detail. So if we go to our layers again, select the green, that selects all of them. Let's go over to line weights again. Let's just bring it down to 0.75. So this tutorial is just basically going over the difference between raster or vector and also line weights and using the pen tool.